3 and a 2 and a 1. Hello and welcome to episode 172 of the Naked Tech Podcast. It's a show that gives you everything you need to know about consumer tech, the internet, and all about the central finite curve. I'm your friend Jeff Kim.
My name is Kelvin Lee, and this podcast is 50% better than the competition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who are our competition?
I don't know. If Apple doesn't tell us, I'm not telling you.
Oh, okay, intriguing. We're getting into that now.
We are. We get straight off the bat, man.
Well, I would have gone for 75%, but 50% sure.
Yeah, if you haven't already guessed.
Here we are.
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, we're back again.
172 episodes.
What do you think episode 200 is going to be?
200 is a bit of a loaded number for me.
Oh.
It's a bit of a inside thing, but let's not go there.
Yep.
So I've been watching the Matrix trilogy
again
and again. I think it's worthwhile watching every few years, and you know we've seen the Matrix 4 trailer. What did you think of that, Kelvin? What's happening?
I'm scared. I'm scared that it's predictable at this stage. You know, with the snippets that we saw Trinity, we saw Blue Pills, we saw Keanu Reeves, and immediately the premise for that would be we're going to keep locked up inside the Matrix. We'll just keep feeding him blue pills so that he never becomes who he was meant to be, aka the chosen one. We all know Trinity is dead, inverted commas. So, you know, is that a virtual... Yeah, I know. But, you know, instead of, keeping him, giving him the opportunity to rise again, they're just going to lock his consciousness up in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that we can formulate some sort of story is concerning because that seems like the safe option out.
We shall see. We shall see. I'm a little bit excited, and don't know if you noticed on Netflix, it's like one of the most watched things right now. Because of those trailers or the trailer.
Do we know when is it coming out?
It's definitely next year. Okay. Probably towards
Christmas,
the middle. Interesting. It's no longer shot in Sydney, unfortunately, so you can't play the Matrix game where you look out for all the Sydney sites. Hey, that's Surrey Hills, Hotel Hollywood.
It's all right. That's what Shang-Chi is for, right?
the tram, anyway.
That's right.
Wish we can watch Shang-Chi, but
no, I can't wait, man. I think the moment the lockdown ends, that's probably the first thing I'm going to do and see if IMAX will have it. So watch out for that episode. Shall we kick off?
Let's do it. Apple.
What
did Apple do this week?
Not much. I think everyone's listening to the podcast and watching this on Twitch right now will probably know that this launch, would you say it's been the most underwhelming Apple launch in recent history? In recent memory?
I don't know if underwhelming is the right word, because I think they're all underwhelming. It kind of depends on your expectation levels. Like, have you ever been overwhelmed?
Not by Apple, not in a while. Like,
opposite.
I think if you think of the iPhone 13 as the iPhone 12s, it's slightly more, I don't know, acceptable with the lack of innovation.
I was thinking about this, Kelvin. So back in the day, I think the S cycle in that TikTok model, that was the one people were looking for. It was like, I want the second version of that, not the first version of that.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, that's interesting because I'm going from an 11 Pro, and spoiler alert, I have already ordered the 13 Pro.
Damn it. I thought we were going to play that game of would he or would he not?
Well, couldn't wait.
So which one?
I can talk a little bit about the options that I had, but maybe let's go through the actual phone first, shall we?
Yes. So,
where to start?
Should we start the Pro and work down? How about that?
Pro Max? Well, okay, let's set this up because there's really two models at a certain angle, which is the Pro and the standard
Mhm.
13. And the Pro, they come in two sizes. One is a 6.1. Okay, I'm bad at these specifications, but the Max is a bigger one. This year, there's not too much difference between the Max and the standard Pro,
No, not much.
just the size, right?
Yep. So 6.1 inch for the iPhone 13 Pro and 6.7 inch for the Pro Max, both with Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion, which we will talk about in a second. But
Hmm.
besides that, nothing else. Colors? Are the colors the same? You would know this. You've probably spent a bit of time looking at that cart on the Apple Store, thinking which color to get.
Well, it was a bit that part was a little bit underwhelming. I did go for the Sierra Blue, I think they call it.
Yep.
Is a new color. I mean, I'm going from a sort of like a camo
Mm.
sort of green, total green. 12. If I got the 12 last year, then I probably would have gone for the sort of the darker blue.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I went for the Sierra Blue here. The other choices were the standard sort of space gray, silver,
Yeah.
and I think rose gold.
And gold. That's right.
Gold,
Yeah.
yeah. Going down to the standard models,
Hmm.
so kind of the same deal. One standard size and a mini size. And a lot of people are saying that this will be the last mini phone.
Which I thought was the most innovative part of the 12, to be honest. I know people like, YouTube content creators like Snazzy, they loved the mini, and I thought it was a good differentiator. I don't know why they would get rid of it.
I mean, I'm guessing that it's purely a business decision. I don't think it's been selling well.
Hmm.
I mean, like people who are going to love it are going to really love it,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah. So we've got the iPhone 13 at 6.1 inch and the iPhone 13 mini at 5.4 inch with no promotion, which is a very difficult word to say because I keep hearing myself say promotion. um,
This is a demotion.
exactly. So yeah, the two phones. The iPhone 13 has way more colors to choose from, right? It's got the blue finish, the midnight finish, the starlight, and product red, as always.
Hmm. I probably would have gone for the
Yeah,
red.
same here.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'll start talking about the choices that I had, and I really thought about the mini this year.
really, that's
So one
interesting.
of the things I would have done was get a mini just from the size and the portability. I think I talked about being able to run with the phone as
Hmm.
well in my hand. To offset that, I would have probably gotten a point and shoot camera, like a mirrorless camera, or one of those Sony A somethings.
Interesting, like the
Yeah,
A16100 or something.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. And I think if I did that, that would have worked out to be the same price as getting a Pro Max.
Oh my goodness, isn't that insane?
So that was the
Yeah.
choice that I had. Speaking of choice, Neo Matrix and all that. So I took the blue pill
Hmm.
and went for the Pro, not the Max.
Okay, so you went for Pro. Let's
512,
let's go to
half
the
half a
AU
terabyte.
store and work out what a pre-order would look like. Okay, so you picked the iPhone 13 Pro in
Mm-hmm.
blue,
Yep, 512,
256, 512.
512, 512.
Oh my goodness. Not trading in?
Now there's a reason for that.
Yes.
So 256 is what I have currently,
Yes.
and I mean it's not like it's running out of space, but given uh, the video format's coming called ProRes,
Okay.
I could potentially be shooting in that mode.
Let's talk about that first. Do we want to go to
Okay.
ProRes now or do we want to do that after?
We could do
Yeah.
after, but maybe talk about the cameras
Yes.
in general.
So I'm looking at the website right now. Obviously, a lot of marketing spiel around this is the biggest camera upgrade ever, which it always is. It's got new sort of low light performance, which is possible because they've changed the aperture of the lens this time around. So yes, I can see that happening. There is new cinematic modes that was shown in the showcase. And they it allows a person to shoot a video and it knows who's in the front or who's in the back, and it gives you that bokeh effect in video, which I think is really cool. But hardware wise, I don't think they can do a lot.
I mean, it's a bump up from the lenses previously, so more uh, bigger aperture.
Hmm.
You'll have to help me with the terminology here, Kelvin, but just bigger everything, faster everything,
Yes.
kind of.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
and if being a skeptic, this isn't. These steps are really small, right? These incremental steps. The aperture isn't much bigger than the 12, and I believe that they've really focused on macro this time around. So you can go as close as 2 centimeters now. I believe that in the 12 you can only go as close as 5, if I'm not wrong. So if you're really into that, this is the phone for you. But I always question who the pro phones are really for. If you really wanted pro, sort of a macro feature and all the other features we're going to talk about, you already have an SLR. So it always baffles me in terms of no one's going to use this for their work, but it's very much a prosumer type device rather than a professional device, right? You're the guy that does a
Mhm.
lot of creative work, but you have that, you're on a bus or whatever and you see a cool shot. Um, but yeah, I really, that could work, I guess, if you want to do macro on the run.
Yeah, I suppose Apple kind of cornered that market of calling something pro is for professionals.
Mm.
But in this case, I don't think that's it. I think you're right about the prosumer type of market.
Hmm.
And we've been there for the last 7, 8
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Hang on, how long have we had pros on iPhones?
Since
Maybe
the 7,
10?
10, 10,
Oh, okay.
10. Who knows? But you're right. I think they've cornered that market, and it works, right? I
Yeah.
think,
And like my situation is that, I decided to get this one instead of a point and shoot camera, just from the, I don't have to carry an extra thing around.
yeah, and you know what?
So I think it's kind of like people like me.
Yeah, and how many of us are going to export the videos and the photos, put it on your iMac/MacBook, and actually do any post editing on this? You know, I don't know anybody who does that. I used to do a little bit of that, but you know, with so much that's happening on the imaging engines these days, the images are just good enough, right? I mean, most of us just use it for Instagram.
I think, speaking of pros, even the professional photographers are, mostly posting on Instagram. Like used to be, I don't know, Flickr, right? Do you remember Flickr?
Yeah,
Um,
Yahoo's
so
Flickr.
the Yeah, so I think the trick will be at what point do these people use iPhones to post to Instagram rather than their SLRs?
I think a lot of them would already be doing that. I don't think, you know, I just think it'll elevate the SLRs to a totally different kind of field of work, right? I think the SLRs will keep getting better and better. And when we talk about ProRes, it'll become very obvious as to why you still need sort of 4K, 8K SLR Dragon type cameras. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think this has its place, but it's a stretch to use this for actually professional camera work.
Mm. Would you say, if friends and family asked us which one to get, what would you say?
Oh,
The Pro or the non-Pro?
non-pro.
Non-Pro, yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
I agree.
Would they even know what
Unless
HDR
you're really
is?
into photography, I mean, most people are thinking of upgrading from like a 7 or an 8. Was there
Yeah.
an 8? There was no 8, was there?
It was an 8.
There was an
There
8.
was an 8. Look, the disappointing thing about iPhones now is they're not designed to be a whole lot better than the 12s because they're to convince people 2 generations beforehand to get the new phone. That's the new way of thinking about it, right? To get someone like yourself, Jeff, who has been hanging on to the 11 for 2 years now, and you're looking for an upgrade. That's it. It was never going to shift the innovation needle in any way. Um, so I think that's where people are starting to get a bit. I think getting a bit um, disappointed with the fact that this is not new. There's nothing here that is mind blowing at all.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, like I don't know post pandemic if Apple will go back to live events, but these are just, 90-minute TV ads, TV spots.
Yeah,
So, phones, like, I don't know, people talk about innovation on phones. Like, what else is there? Like, sure, folding. I, I don't know. Is that innovation, or that people are just doing that because they can and just for the sake of calling something innovative?
yeah. No, I agree with you.
I,
I agree with you. Like
yeah.
the little steps now, they're going to be very little. The steps that are going to be, from phone to phone are going to be very little. But should we talk
Mhm.
about? So we start looking beyond the phones now and start talking about things, that are controversial with the iPhone 13.
Oh, there's more
Yeah,
promotion. Do you want to go there?
let's do it. So finally, you can now get up to 120 hertz on your iPhone 13 Pro and the Pro Max, which is disappointing itself. I think they should have just done it for the iPhone 13 because your basic Android phones, like the Samsung S21, which I'm holding in my hand, now has it all the way down to the base model. It does make a difference. I moved from the S10 Plus to the S21, and the animations are smoother. It just feels so much better. Um, I undoubtedly, because the iPhone 13 Pro will have adaptive resolutions where if you're looking at something that's not quick, it'll go down to 10 hertz. I think they'll do that adaptive model better than anyone else. But until people actually have these devices en masse, and I want someone like
Okay, I'm going
yourself
to
to
play
be
the
to be
Linus
able to
clip.
tell me if you can tell the difference.
There is one actually exciting hardware upgrade the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max are bringing to the table. The same ProMotion adaptive refresh rate displays seen on the iPad Pros, with the capability to change from 10 Hz to 120 Hz depending on what's happening on screen.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that considered to be the most exciting part about this phone. What are your thoughts? Do you think there was any part of this launch that was more exciting than ProMotion?
Well, just about the adaptiveness on that. So I guess this is the Apple part of the 120
Hmm.
hertz. So whereas other manufacturers just made it 120 hertz refresh rate for every situation, even when there's no movement on the screen.
Hmm. Yeah,
Apple, like, I think dials down to like 30
10.
hertz. If there's no
Yeah,
movement.
yeah.
10.
It also, but I think it's arguable in terms of what difference that really makes on your battery. Um, so I think you're right. I think people will catch on and do adaptive as well. But I'm curious to learn more about how much battery it actually does save, even if you're stuck at 120 all the time. But I guess every sort of
It's not even the battery though, right? Like from a motion point of view. So because I haven't seen
mm,
many 120 hertz Android phones, but from what I've seen on YouTube, like it's not very smooth. The animation's not very smooth
I think it has to be.
because it's trying
Yeah,
to
I think it has to be software
do 120
accelerated as well.
hertz.
But I think the biggest win for adaptive is battery for sure. Because you're easily going twice the frame rate of a 60 hertz phone, right? I mean, that's
Mm.
going to definitely strain the battery.
Yeah,
But you're right. I think Apple will have to quicken up its animation because they're typically, they're quite slow compared to Android, the animation to make it look like it's doing something. So I'm curious to see how that would actually look in person. So I'm looking forward to testing that.
mm. I mean, we've had iPad Pros already using 120
Mm.
hertz. I don't know if they were adaptive.
I actually,
Um,
if it's the same panel as like what Linus's, I forget his name, um, team was talking about there, I think they are adaptive, especially on a big screen like the iPad Pros. I would expect that would really kill the battery.
yeah. I have a clip from Marquez, and this is about the ProRes format, which is like the pro of the pro video format. So if you're in the industry, maybe you produce advertising for an agency, for example, like you sort of work on that and you ship it, you do it in this format apparently, ProRes. So it's like beyond 4K. It's like the JPEG RAW of videos. Think of it that way. But here's a little thing that Marquez and a lot of commentators have pointed out, and it's to do with the base model of these pros.
So you can now shoot with the Pro's 4K 30 FPS ProRes video on the iPhone, unless you get the 128 gig baseline Pro iPhone, in which case only 1080.
1080 is what he was trying to say there at the end. So again, very typical of Apple. Instead of giving you the option of not shooting in ProRes, they just like disabled it altogether because of disk space, presumably.
Yeah, well, it has to be, right? I mean, I think you got to give it to Apple. Their number one priority is customer experience. If I can only shoot 5 seconds of ProRes video and it eats up all my storage, I don't think that's going to be a very good customer experience. I'm quite sure that ProRes will take gigabytes of storage just for a couple of minutes. Here's the other frustrating thing about ProRes, and this is probably the thing that pisses me off the most. Why are we still on Lightning as a port for like iPhone 13 Pro? It's based on USB 2. Do you know how long it would take to transfer out your ProRes video, let's just say at 300 gigabytes onto your iMac? Like, how is that pro in any way? There is no fast way of getting ProRes video off your iPhone 13 Pro. I think that is the most
Straight to
frustrating
Instagram,
thing.
man.
Yes. I'm sure that wouldn't get compressed in any way.
Okay, so I've got a quick follow-up clip, also from Linus, or Linus Tech Linked, I think is the show on YouTube.
One of his 100 shows.
And this might be a good segue to start talking about one of the other announcements. Very quick one.
Pro models also now have an adaptive 120 hertz Pro Motion display, but come on, would you rather have that for $1,000 or the new iPad mini, which has the same A15 Bionic chip, 5G, pencil support, and freaking USB-C for $650? I mean, it's the big phone Apple should have made.
Love it.
No.
The best take I've heard.
Absolutely.
It's the mini, iPad mini is the iPhone 13 Pro Max Pro.
Cheap. Yes, the cheap version. The iPhone 12 and a half
Max.
Pro Max.
Maxo.
So isn't that crazy though? It's the same chip. It's the A15 Bionic on both devices, the iPad mini and iPhone 13 Pro. So don't tell me you couldn't fit USB-C. It's not the architecture, it's not the motherboard, it's nothing. It's just, I don't know what it is now. Who uses the port for anything? In the past, when we were moving away from the really big, whatever we used to call those really big fat ports for the really early sort of iPhones,
42 pin.
Yeah, or something
ports.
like that. Like there were a lot of like audio devices that you had to plug into and all that had to be changed. I get that. But who's using Lightning for anything but charging the phone now? There is no excuse for
see my dongle situation over here.
there's just no excuse for Apple to say like, hey, we make a lot of money from royalties for Lightning, so therefore we're going to keep it for as long as possible.
I mean, I'm not convinced that's the reason. I think as soon as they move to USB-C for iPhones, there'll be another half of the crowd complaining about the fact that they changed it.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not because they can't.
But why do you think they won't though?
Commercial.
Because they overbought.
I think they're scared of that backlash
from Lightning.
Like most people are perfectly fine with Lightning, right? They're not pros and they're not converting photos, let alone backing up photos anywhere.
Yeah.
They're literally to take a photo. They go into the Photos app, select a few, and delete to make space,
Yeah,
and then take the next photo.
but you see, I wanted to see progress though. You know what I mean? In the iPhone 12, we saw the MagSafe chargers, right? I was very happy if they dumped the entire system and just went portless. And just went, we've got a new MagSafe connector that will allow you to transfer faster than USB 3.1. Do that. But in the iPhone 13, they did nothing in that space. They did nothing to solve the file transfer problem. So they made no progress. Whereas the iPhone 12 from the 11 to 12, they did. So for me, that's there can only be one reason, right? The iPhone 14 is going to be either portless or USB-C. They're going to make a big jump. But nothing for the iPhone 13 is not acceptable.
Denied.
Yeah.
I think there is a fine line between progress and change, or perceived change. Like, would you say the address bar in Safari going to the bottom, would you call that progress? No.
No. But yeah, but I think hardware is different in the sense that I can see. I totally agree with you. Like a lot of people would just freak out if they see their port change and they have to dump their cables. I would even consider not including the USB charger progress because a lot of people probably have a USB-C device along somewhere in the house now, right? Whether it be your new mouse or your new camera, your new microphone or your new headphones. So they have that. They have that cable. They have that charger. Anyone with a MacBook has that. So it's just baffling.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a couple more years. Maybe save it for the predictions episode.
Oh my god!
I don't think they'll be doing changing from Lightning for iPhones anytime soon.
It's that's just crazy. It's just crazy. They
But
have
you're
it on
right.
the iPads.
Perhaps
That's the other thing.
They've done it for the iPads.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the true pro device.
Yeah, no, definitely the iPad mini is, I think, I've always been a fan of that form factor. So it is still a little bit expensive. I think in Australia it's $799 for the base model with no 5G. Once you include the pen, you're almost hitting 1,000. So I think, would I then just buy the laptop instead, the MacBook Air M1? That's also a tough proposition.
Actually, that was one of my options as well. The mini, iPad mini.
Yeah.
And maybe not get an iPhone.
Oh.
Now, we were wondering whether there was 30 minutes worth of Apple, and we probably kind of hit it. We did have a couple other things to talk about, but before we do that, is it worth mentioning the watch?
Not really. Okay, the biggest takeaway from the watch was everyone thought it was going to be something else, and it wasn't.
Well, I think it's emerging that they wanted to do that, but they just couldn't. There was some catastrophic failures in the manufacturing process.
Yeah.
So I think if you dig through it, I've seen a couple of videos where they've literally put a different screen on the same body as the Watch 6.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real difference besides faster charging, bigger screen. The form factor
The same
was
chip as well.
same chip as well. I mean, the form factor was meant to be drastically different, right? It was meant to be squarer. Is that a word?
Yep.
So people aren't really, excited about this either. There's rumors of, the keyboard being taken from an app that they rejected from the store. So it's all it's not the game changer. And you know what?
No one's buying this.
With the new Wear OS coming, and a lot of talk around the new range of Android sort of watches being really good, I think they're starting to lose their grip a little bit on the watch space.
Grip from the dominance of the market?
Well, there is no competitor at the moment, right? So they're going to get some competition. And the more I watch more videos about iPad versus Tab, the Samsung Tab tablets. Samsung doing good things with the folding phones, and the new generations are actually cheaper. Apple's, it's going to be a tough couple of years for Apple. We'll see.
Just with the watch, I'm pretty sure they'll go on a 2-year cycle, whether that's from next year or the one after. But yeah, there's no point releasing a new watch every year. 0 point.
No, totally agree.
Sorry, Tim Cook. Right. Let's okay. So I've been keen to talk about this, which is Facebook's new venture, and there may be a possible announcement overnight coming up. Somewhat related, but Facebook have partnered with Ray-Ban of Luxottica fame, and they have glasses. You got it on the screen there. I'm just going to play, hopefully, an intro clip. Yes, I believe that's it. This is Mashable.
After taking a minute to pair the glasses to your phone via a new app called Facebook View.
Okay, I'm just going to start that again, but just to set it up, this is Mashable with the glasses in the hands and talking about the setup process and what it does after you do that.
After taking a minute to pair the glasses to your phone via a new app called Facebook View, all you have to do is hold down a button on the right side of the frames to snap a photo of whatever you're looking at. Quickly tapping the same button will instead record a 30-second video, but you can't record anything longer than that. A small but very noticeable LED on the front side of the glasses will light up whenever you use the camera to cut down on the creep factor a bit.
Okay. So perhaps we should have talked about the product a little bit more, but essentially they're Ray-Ban Wayfarers. They come in 3 different models and various colors with a camera, 5 megapixel. And that's about it.
So are they trying to get more content creators on Facebook? Because I feel like I don't go to Facebook to watch my short videos, right? Like I do on YouTube or TikTok or Snap. Do you think this is going to help them with that?
I mean, in the long run, yes, but this is not a Facebook product as such. I do have another clip talking about some of the background on that. This is a Ray-Ban product that Facebook helped develop.
Got you.
But the answer to your question is this is just a test case. Like we know where Facebook and Zuckerberg is headed. I believe in July, Zuckerberg said something along the lines of, we are no longer a social media company. We want to be a metaverse company. To be in the metaverse, you need to be able to track things. You need to look out and capture things, sense things, whether it's AR or VR. You need to be able to capture information. So this is just a test case, a test run for that.
Do we know what the battery life is like?
All-day battery.
I hope so.
From what I've seen, it's quite clever because it's a case. It just rests in the case, and as you fold the hinges, the arms, there's like a little bit that opens up, like your glasses, Kelvin. When you do that, it exposes a little bit on the inside. If you know what I mean. And that becomes a charging port within the case.
Oh, I see.
So I think that's pretty clever. That's good industrial design. And I would gather like some of the other existing, smart glasses are already doing that.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to figure out. Like, I think this is very much a test case. I think all first generation products are going to be this way, but it shows you the direction that Facebook want to take, which is that metaverse you spoke of. And you know what? Everyone loves Ray-Bans. I think they're leveraging off that goodwill of that brand as well. I'm looking at The Verge at the moment, which is showing the early prototypes, which is quite interesting. Like, it's a lot bigger than the Wayfarers. So they've come a long way in miniaturizing a lot of that hardware. So it's a direction in the right step. The other interesting thing is there's no viewport. There is no way to view what you're shooting.
On your phone?
Yeah, on your phone, not on your face.
Just in that clip, he did talk about how you can actually take photos and videos. So you can just hold the button, just press the button on your side, sort of like the Google Glass, if you remember that from 10 years ago. And it'll automatically shoot a 30-second video. Like a rolling video, you can't pause it, can't do anything, just shoot it. So, it's like your GoPro type thing. Or if you hold it down, a light will come on, very subtle light, and you'll be taking photos.
Yeah, I mean,
there is a hot word as well, so voice activated.
creepy.
Great for your first dates, if you're allowed to do that.
So I think that's the other issue that the Google Glass ran into, right? Like a lot of people felt really uncomfortable with someone walking into a shop or a playground or whatever it might be with someone that has a camera perpetually stuck on his or her face. So I think it will bring about the usual conversations around privacy and what is right and what isn't.
Yep, I'm going to play a clip now from Zuckerberg himself. And he might mention a few things just to get an idea of what he's thinking, where the future might be. There's a key thing here. Listen out for it.
Whether you're on a hike, cooking, or just hanging out or playing outside with your kids, you're going to be able to quickly capture that experience and share it if you want to. And this is just the start. Ray-Ban stories are an important step towards a future when phones are no longer a central part of our lives. And you won't have to choose between interacting with a device or interacting with the world around you.
Right, so the reason why Facebook is not working on a phone is because they want to get rid of the phone.
Well, it's not a secret that I think that's always been a struggle for Facebook. They're basically giving money to Apple, Google, Samsung, and all these phone manufacturers, right? In the sense that all Facebook is an app. So they want to be able to lose that dependency on these companies to bypass the phone. So that's interesting.
It's coming. And the answer to the privacy stuff. So Facebook's standard answer to this is, well, it's actually less creepier than using a phone to capture a video.
Yes, but people are used to seeing a phone before a photo is taken, if that makes sense. Like if I feel uncomfortable,
that's true right now.
Yeah, that's true. So, and these cameras are tiny, and the fact they look like Ray-Bans, you gotta really look hard to see if there's a camera there.
And isn't it interesting, like most of the public won't realize there are cameras on these Ray-Bans. And in terms of like how they've been able to miniaturize everything in there, like it's literally no different to a standard Ray-Ban pair of Wayfarers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's engineering wise, it's incredible. I feel like it's like a perfect storm of, I think that the industry is kind of ready for this, plus Facebook wanting to be in the metaverse, create a metaverse. I think there's genuine appetite there because people want to share, their lives in a more efficient way. So, like, I don't know, Zuckerberg, I saw something where he was like fencing one of the Olympians with these on. So you get that point of view of him fencing some chick.
Yeah, for 30 seconds.
30 seconds only. But yeah, this is the future. And this is a test case. I guess they want to like test this sort of stuff without like creating their own product, which is the genius part of this.
Yeah,
because everyone loves Ray-Bans.
Yeah, if we can get to a device that's between the Oculus and the Ray-Bans, that's where we want to be, right? We want the power of Oculus devices on a form factor closer to Ray-Bans. And I wonder if they'll ever come up with a watch, because I feel like that's another sort of opportunity for them to bypass the phone, but I think that will come.
Yeah, and interestingly, tomorrow morning, there's going to be an announcement, and it could be the Quest Pro 2, or sorry, the Quest Pro. So that's Facebook's VR device.
But I also feel like Facebook is also lacking a voice assistant to really make this usable with no keyboard or no touch device. So we'll see what they announce tomorrow.
We shall. Let's wrap it up, Kelvin.
On that note, we hope you enjoyed episode 172. There's another 171 episodes on the website, so please check it out, nakedtechpodcast.com. Hit us up on social media, tell us what you think, and we can't wait to see you on episode 173. Kelv out.
Jeff out.
Wow.
I still haven't figured out how to split the audio.
Oh, did you used to be able to?
Yeah.